All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Team Rock Hard Bodies, a bi-weekly call. Today is August the 10th. I'm like, it's really the 10th. And my name is Tanya Landis. I will be talking today about vision, just to give you a little background about myself, because this is Jesse's team call. I am one of Jesse's personally sponsored coaches. I signed up December of 2011. And I'm a 3-time elite coach, and I have 13 lifetime diamonds on my team. And so I'm not as present in her team page because I have a big team as well, which that happens as you grow your business. And it's really exciting. But I love Jessie. I owe her so much, and I'm going to talk about that today. So first off, I want to thank you guys for coming. I know it's the middle of the day, and so I appreciate it. I know everybody has kids, but that's the beauty of this business is that you can incorporate your kids. So I have done my business with kids running around because I started when they were really little. And beauty of it, you can, design your hours around your kids' schedule. So I want to start off with talking about one of what I feel is the most important thing in this business to have, which is vision. And a lot of people are, they confuse that with a why, or they confuse that with a should or could or something like that. But they don't have vision. And if you don't have vision, you will not be successful in this business, because this business takes hard work and you need to know what you're working for. So, it goes back to the Bible, where there is no vision, the people will perish. And that is so true. I completely believe that. You have to have vision. And a man without a vision is a man without a future. A man without a future will always return to his past. So if you don't like what your past is, then you better get yourself a vision. Otherwise, you're going to keep making the same mistakes that are getting you to where you are right now. So when I started, we had gone through a really rough time. And some of you know my story and some of you don't. We had lived the American dream. We had an amazing business. We had a huge home. We even had a white picket fence in our front yard. We had our perfect little boy, and life was great. We took amazing vacations. We had a lot of money in savings, drove really nice cars. And so we were living the epitome of the American dream. Couple things with that. The American dream is a lie. We weren't super happy. We worked really hard to keep up with the Joneses and keep up with this lifestyle that we had thought that you were supposed to create. We went to college. We worked hard. We built, we worked for everything that we had. We weren't given anything. My husband and I produced everything that we had, and we worked our butts off, and we were very successful. But we also were heavily invested in real estate. We had a couple $1 million actually invested in real estate. And 07-08 crash happened. At the same time, I gave birth to our second child, Allie, who was very sick. And so we had two things happen. The real estate market was crashing, so we were blowing through savings because we were trying to, save what was going on. And it just wasn't savable. Like, Dave Ramsey, his counselors, 2 of them told us to file bankruptcy. That's how bad it was. So they're like, Dave would tell you to file bankruptcy. Like, you need to file bankruptcy. That's how bad your situation is. Because we were drowning in real estate. It wasn't like we went out and spent money on credit cards or anything like that. It was homes, our rental properties, and then also our daughter was sick. And yeah, insurance is awesome until you need to use it. Then it doesn't pay for things like you would think it would. I had been with my insurance company for 10 years, paid them their premium every month, had just done our well visits. I had a daughter who needed their care, and I had to fight for everything that she got. And a lot of times they would make her wait. Well, when your child is sick, you're not going to make them wait. So I learned really fast how to, get my daughter into doctor's appointments and hospital visits and things like that. And until you've been to that situation, you have no idea what I'm talking about. I know some of you do, but many of you probably don't. And that was, my husband and I were super healthy. Our son was healthy. And then our daughter, it was, as our doctor said, nobody did anything wrong. It was just bad luck. So, my second child was very sick. We lost our business. We lost our home. If we didn't lose it, we sold it. I sold everything, just to keep us afloat and be able to pay for food and Allie's medical care. Allie is my daughter that was ill, and her medicine after insurance was $500. That's after the insurance paid a month. And so, we not only were trying to maintain our living expenses, but then also to pay, the $500 plus all the copays and different things that she needed for her appointments. And then she had multiple surgeries. It was a mess. I'll just tell you that. It was a mess. Because of that, I had been prone to anxiety in the past, but my anxiety was through the roof. Seriously, I was just like a ticking time bomb. Not in terms of explosion, just crying and trying to hold everything together because I wasn't sleeping. I had a lot of anxiety. I couldn't sleep because my daughter, I was afraid she would stop breathing. So I was constantly checking on her, and she wasn't sleeping. I also, had I had a son during, that was a little bit older. He was 3.5 when my daughter was born. And so it was a mess. And then I found out I was pregnant for a third time. And I love my kids, but finding out I was pregnant in the midst of this again was seriously, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can barely deal with what I have going on. But God knew what we needed. And my third child was the peace and calm and everything that we needed at that time. And so she came into the picture and was such a blessing. But now I had 3 kids. Still had a lot of financial problems. I was getting up with a baby and, my other daughter, and then trying to be a mom during the day to my son. So I was a mess. I was not taking care of myself. I was the typical mom that was just doing what I could to get out the door and just, pray I didn't forget anything. Was just a mess. I had basically been pregnant for several years. If I wasn't pregnant, I was nursing. I was just had lost myself, lost just kind of lost myself in the process. And then also, obviously, my biggest concern was my daughter Allie's health, and making sure she was okay. And I spent a lot of time in hospitals. And, I was 8.5 months pregnant when I was spending the night in the hospital, sleeping in a chair while she was having surgery. So it was a really rough time. And I just never thought we were going to get out of it. My husband worked a ton of hours, but when you talk about the level of debt that we had with the medical and everything and the loss that we had gone through and the way the economy was, it just seemed like there was no options. We're hard workers. We had beautiful resumes. I couldn't go to work. There was no way because there's nobody to take care of my children, let alone a child that needed special care. So that was out. My husband was working an insane amount of hours, but as fast as the money came in, the money left. So I was at a dance class for my daughter, and I was sitting there and I was eating, you guys know, some of my team knows the story, drinking my, daily Diet Dr. Pepper and eating Cheetos, I think, or Ritz. I don't remember. It wasn't good. And this girl started talking to me and she's like, "How are you?" And I'm like, "Are you talking to me?" Because nobody had asked me how I was doing in a really long time. And I looked like hell. I had, I was nursing a baby. I had another toddler running around. I don't even know where my other kid was. It was just, I was the typical mama chaos going on. Who wants to talk to the chaotic mom? It was what I thought because I was just no self-confidence. My self-confidence had tanked at that point. Everything was just so crazy. So I went and I just decided, I was talking to this girl, And it turned out it was Jessie, who's my coach. And she just started asking me how I was doing. And I was like, I'm good. And she was like, and I had just kind of was talking with her about how I probably shouldn't be eating Cheetos and drinking Diet Dr. Pepper, because I knew she was a personal trainer, because I could see it on her shirt. She had her, her wear and share on. And then what happened was she just started talking to me, and she was like, well, have you heard of Beachbody? And she, we were just talking, and she didn't try to sell me anything or anything like that. She was just sharing with what she was doing. And she had just recently signed up with Beachbody. So then I was just sitting, I was like, kind of got to know her, and she kept following up with me. And eventually 3 months later, I bought a challenge pack from her, because I had heard of Beachbody. I knew what it was. I had done P90X before. I was one of those people that bought it off the infomercial, did it, and then let it sit in my closet for like 3 years, So that was me. And I had tried Shakeology, liked it, thought it was so expensive. There's no way I could afford it, blah, 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 blah. But I knew, but at the time that Jessie talked to me, I knew that I was tired of feeling so down. And I knew that if I was going to be, I didn't have any energy left. Like, I was running on fumes. And if I wanted to be strong for my kids, and I wanted to be able to maintain, like, be able to keep up with what my daughter needed as well as my other children, I needed to do something, and I needed to do something now. And I also knew that I did not want my kids, especially my 2 girls, to develop bad habits with their bodies and have poor body image, do fad diets, because I adore my mom, but I grew up in, my mom would do all the fad diets. I remember her eating lettuce with sugar on it. I remember her doing Weight Watchers, like every, like, I'm going to do Weight Watchers again, and all of those things. And I just did not want that for my girls. My mom did the best she could with the tools that she had, but I knew that I wanted something different for my girls. And my son as well, of course, but I wanted all my kids to have a good view of their body. So I decided that I knew Beachbody had a very good value system. I had researched it. I knew that they had, they did lifestyle. It wasn't going to be a quick fix, but it was going to be the right way. And that's what I wanted for my kids. So, and for me. And so I started out with my challenge pack, about the $205 one. And immediately with drinking Shakeology, within a week, I felt amazing. My body loved the nutrition. It sucked it right up, because, I had tried eating good before. I couldn't maintain it. I had a wicked sweet tooth. And let's face it, my diet soda habit, my coffee habit, and my sugar binges did not help. So Shakeology was a sure thing for me. It was helping me get good quality nutrition in first thing in the morning. So I loved it. Then Jessie had mentioned, you can sign up as a coach to get a discount. So that's what I did. And my husband, I used our Christmas money to buy my challenge pack. That's how I bought it. And I knew that if I wanted to keep getting my Shakeology, I needed to figure out a way to get it paid for. So in the beginning, my vision, this is what it was, to get my shakes paid for and help some people and stay on track myself. That was my vision. And that was awesome, because you know what? I did that. I was able to get my shakes paid for. I was able to help 5 people my first month, and I got my shakes paid for, and I made a little extra money to help out. And that was a big deal for our family, and that was my vision. And then the next thing that I did, I'm going to kind of go through my story and just tell you how my vision expanded, and then I'll tell you how to create 3 tips on how to create your own vision. My next month, I was like, you know what? If I can get my shakes paid for, what if I could pay for our groceries? Like, paying for our groceries would be huge. So month 2, I made it my goal to pay for my shakes and pay for my groceries. So I did that. And paying for groceries and paying for 2 kids in diapers took a huge, that was a huge lift off of our financial strain, being able to do that for our family. So I did that. And then I thought, that was my vision, and I was so excited. And not to mention, I was helping people. I was helping people that whole time. So how cool is that? I was paying it forward, and I was also helping my family. My next thing was, I remember all of this. Like, my vision was, let's pay for our mortgage. Like, if we could pay that, that would be huge. Like, that would take off so much pressure. So I wrote down what I was going to do, my vision, and then my goal and how to do it. And I did that within, I think it was 5 or 6 months. Then I retired my husband from his job that he was commuting to and working at like a dog all the time. But he only lasted 2 days in retirement and then started his own firm because he's like, this stay-at-home parent thing is too hard. I don't know how you did it. I thought I could rock it. And he'll tell you this, you guys, he loves his kids. He is a great father, a great husband, but as you know, moms know, like, being at home is not easy. He thought it would be easy. And he was like, oh no, I gotta go to work. Like, I can't do this. So he does have his own company, but the way that company was started, it was funded by what I make with Beachbody. And then our next thing was, that was awesome. And then, our vision for our family for a long time, one thing that we would talk about was being able to take our family overseas and spend time in Europe with them. And I'm happy to say that last year, in May of 2015, we had a one-way ticket for all 5 of us. We went to London, and then we traveled around Europe for a few months. We spent time in London, then we went over to France. We spent a month traveling all over France. We did a month in Italy, and then we decided to come back. And nothing was booked more than a few days in advance. We booked it all Airbnb. We did whatever we wanted. And guess what? I worked my business from Europe in the evening with my Wi-Fi connection. And my business thrived during that time, you guys. That is the beauty of this business. You can do it from anywhere, literally anywhere. Yes, I still maintained a residency in the US at my parents' house, but I was technically homeless for like 3 months, but it was awesome. And then we did move back last year because we have some family members that are getting older that need our help. And so what a blessing that is to be able to, do that and then be able to spend the money to come back and help family that needs us. So I just wanted to share my story with you because if you see, my vision has changed over these past 4.5 years. I did not start off when I started as a coach of I'm going to be supporting my entire family. I'm going to be making 6 figures. I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be traveling Europe. That was not my vision when I started. My vision when I started was I got to get these shakes paid for. And then the next month it was, I want to pay our groceries and pay for our kids that need diapers because diapers are expensive. And I stink at cloth diapers, so that's not happening. And then my next vision was pay for our mortgage and all these things. And it has been incredible. So to go from somebody that could, we filed bankruptcy. We were barely able to afford food. We did get state assistance for a while. That's how bad it was. To be able to be making, I've been making well into the 6 figures for the last few years and being able to take my family to Europe. We go on amazing vacations because that is our vision for our family. That is a vision that we created. And your vision is something that you create. Vision is defined in the dictionary as something you imagine. It's a picture you create in your mind. So your vision needs to be yours. Don't look at somebody else and be like, oh, that's my vision, because we all have different visions. We all have different whys. So you have to figure out what it is for you. Because honestly, if you don't have a vision, then how do you know where you're going? It's like getting in the car and you're like, okay, well, I'm going to go somewhere, but I don't know where I'm going. Who wants to drive around aimlessly, turning down corners where you're going to get, it might be a dead end or you're going to get stuck in traffic and not know why you're doing it? Who does that? Only crazy people do that. So you need to have a vision. And the reason you need to have a vision is because then with a vision, you can set goals. And then with goals, You can engineer how you're going to reach them. So when I had my first vision of, I would say the big one was getting, the really big one was in the beginning was paying for groceries and diapers. You guys, we have a family of 5. It is not cheap to feed 5 people and keep 2 of them in diapers. And we had to eat all of our meals in because we couldn't afford to eat out at the time. So what I did is I figured out how much money we were spending, and also I was tired of having to check the balance or clipping. I stink at coupons, so I'm just going to tell you that. Like, I tried that whole couponing thing, and that is like not for me. I tried, but it just does not work with my brain. And when I would get up to the register, I would get like really stressed out because that coupon stuff is hard. I'm sorry. I can use the easy coupons, but that whole movement, not for me. So I figured out what it would take to grocery shop, buy my family quality food, my kids diapers. My kids did wear name brand diapers because those cheap diapers did not work for my kids. So I figured out how much it took, and then I figured out what I needed to do to get there. I reverse engineered it. Then when it was paying for my mortgage, like, that was my vision. I said, okay, so obviously XYZ is my goal. How am I going to do that? And I reverse engineered it. But first I had to picture in my mind, envision what I was wanting to do. Because while this business is simple, you do have to be patient, you do have to be consistent, and you do have to do the hard work. And it is so worth the reward. But if you don't know why, then you won't do it. So get your vision and make sure that you take some time and write it out. So that's step number 1. Create your vision. Take some time. I know we're always in a hurry. I know a lot of you are mothers, and so you always feel like there's somebody like needing your time. Well, if you have to get up early or stay up late, whatever it takes, I challenge you to take 10 to 15 minutes and just dream and write down, what do you want to do? What is the vision for you? What is the vision for your family? And it might be something like me, where it's just paying for groceries. Or Jesse's vision was, when she started, it was to be able to go on vacation. Like, they had never taken a vacation. And so her vision was like, I want to take my family on these awesome vacations, and we're going to go to Atlantis. And so that was her vision. That's how Team Rock Hard Buddies was birthed, you guys, was from your way upline wanting to go on a vacation with her hardworking family. And how awesome is that? And then it grew over time, and now they're building their dream home, which is beautiful, by the way. It's very close to where I live, and it's an oasis. So take 10 to 15 minutes, and I want you to do it today. I know it's a sacrifice, and just dream and write out a vision for you and your family. And please, please, please don't limit yourself. You guys, look at me. I was at the lowest of the low. At one point, I didn't get out of my bed for a week and a half because I was so depressed. My husband came in and said, and I remember him saying, Tanya, you have to get out of bed. Like, you have to. But you know what, Tanya? It is your choice. I cannot do it for you. You have to make the decision to get out of this bed right now. And I did. And because I was just so beaten and so down, and so felt like, that I just couldn't do it anymore. Like, I wasn't living up to what I could do. And I was so anxiety ridden over my daughter and our financial situation, and guilt, and just, it consumed me. And he was like, you have to get out of this bed. And so if I can go from that to living out, I mean, don't get me wrong, we still have problems, but finances is not one of them. And also my daughter, I should mention, because of Beachbody income, I was able to get my daughter alternative care, which ultimately has saved her life. So the medical's great, but what was going on was not, she needed different types of care, and she's living proof that, you know, I worked really hard to make that money, and so did my husband, to get her alternative care. At one point, we were spending a couple $1,000s a month, and that care saved her life. So you have to realize, like, I went from low to living out this life, and living a life that my husband and I truly designed, because we had a vision. And over time, the vision has grown. It is bigger than us. We know that. But it started with a small vision. And then it grew and it grew and it grew as I got more confident, and I got more belief in myself and the company. But I had to believe it was possible. So don't limit your beliefs. I remember writing out 10 goals, and thinking they were insane, like they're never going to happen, and how cool it was at the end of the year to check them all off. So I challenge you to do that. So step number 1, create your vision, write it down, be detailed, imagine it, like sit with yourself, like in quiet. I know it's hard, but give yourself that gift of being able to create it. It will take you so much further. And spend 10 to 15 minutes and just dream. And I would also challenge you to make like a vision board, or if you're not into boards, then just write it out. Get your husband involved or your wife. Get, your kids. What would your kids like? What would be, good for them, and do it together as a family too. But I can guarantee you, it will bring you all closer together, and it's going to help the entire family, when you share your vision with them, that, when mom or dad is working late, this is why. My kids know, like when I'm working really hard, they know why I work hard. They know why I stay up later and get up earlier, so I can spend my day with them. So, truly being able to do that and share that with your family is a gift. So don't be afraid to share that with them. And don't limit yourself. That limiting yourself is, it's just not helpful, you guys. It is, there's a quote I want to read to you guys. A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. That's Winston Churchill. I know that when I was in the midst of my storm before, I was a pessimist and I was negative. And I had to get myself positive and become an optimist. I had been one before, but having that much crap thrown at you for so many years, it's hard. And I wasn't helping the situation by being negative. So now when I see difficult situations, I look at the opportunity in them. I don't look at the negative. I look at the opportunity. And that came with personal development. So definitely make sure you're doing your personal development. When I started as a coach until this day, I pretty much listen to PD all the time. I listen to it during my workout, so I start my day with it. I listen to it whenever I'm in the car. I can't sit down and read a book with my kids, because if I sit down, they're like, Mom, what are you doing? So I constantly have my phone, I have Audible, and I have one earbud in my ear and then the other one out so I can hear my kids fighting, or whatever they need, because they're always loud. It just, you guys, I have 8 people in my house right now, and that's just how it is. And I like it that way. But if I thought that I could work my business or do my PD when it's quiet, that's a joke. That's not my life. And I wouldn't want it that way. So just know that you have to fit it in when you fit it in. But I pretty much listen to personal development all the time. I still do. And that's what keeps me in that positive mindset and being an optimist. And I know I've been told, I remember I was told, you have your head in the clouds. You're just a dreamer. And guess what? Yeah, I may be a dreamer, but my dreams came true. How are you doing with your dreams? That's what I'm saying to them now, because my family wasn't super supportive. My husband has always been supportive. My family did not understand what I was doing. My family found out that I hit 5-star elite by a post that Jessie did on her Facebook page. They didn't know about it. So don't, if you don't have that support, don't think that, oh, well, I can't do it. You can do anything you put your mind to, but it starts with you believing and having a vision. So number 2, once you have the vision, you need to reverse engineer it. So it's going to take some thinking. And this is where you have to be really careful that your negativity or any self-limiting beliefs, that you don't let them creep in. What will it take to get your vision to happen? Because once you have your vision and you've created it, you've set some goals. And then number two, thinking about what is it going to take and reverse engineer it backwards. That's what I do. I look at it and I just go, all right, boom, boom, boom. This is what I need to do. That's my roadmap. Like I said, getting in the car, that's the map I'm going to follow. I may encounter some roadblocks. I may encounter traffic, but you know what? I have such a strong vision and I've got to get to my destination that it doesn't matter. I will find a way to get through it. So that's number two, is like, what's it going to take? What do you have to do to make that happen? And then number three is implement and take action. You have to take action. You can't just like put the vision out there and be like, throw a post on Facebook and expect all your dreams to come true and your problems to be solved. Is not how it's going to happen. You can't expect to send all your invites and everybody to tell you yes. That will also not happen. So you need to implement and take action. And that is consistently doing things every day to get you to your goal. I will tell you, I worked my rear off when I got my big vision of going, retiring my husband and going for, 5 figures a month and 6 figures a year, and being able to maintain that for the past, I guess it has been 3 years. I'm sorry. It's hard for me sometimes to remember life before, like what we were at before, because this has been my reality for a long time. And I know that sounds crazy, but I hope that for all of you, if you haven't hit that yet. But that's how amazing this opportunity is. So once I decided what I was going for, when I got that big one, I implemented it. I worked my rear off. I did sacrifice sleep. I did sacrifice time. Like I had, I used to like watch a lot of TV, with my husband, and I was like, okay, we're only going to watch TV once a week, instead of every night, and get into, these series where we're staying up like late and then I can barely get out of bed in the morning. We're not going to do that. But the time that I did spend with him, I was really intentional about making sure I was focused on him. And then let's not forget, I have 3 kids. And so I always make sure the time when I'm with them, I was present. When I was working my business, I was working my business. When I had to find, blocks of time to work it, I was working it. It wasn't unusual for me to be nursing a baby, having a kid hanging on my neck, and being on my phone sending messages. But I knew that it wasn't always going to be like that. I knew that if I put in the hard work, it was going to pay off because of my vision and because I knew I was taking the steps to make it happen. So that is really what kept me going. I had friends that wanted to go out. Some of you are on this call. You know that I would tell people no. I would be like, I can't go out. I'm really sorry. I would love to, but I just can't make it work. And in my mind, I'm thinking, because I got some serious goals I'm working for my family. And that gave us freedom ultimately of finances and freedom of time, because that was my big vision. And so we have that, and now I can, go do things when I want. I work my business. I consider myself a full-time coach. I do not work over 20 hours a week now. And I have very set hours. Anybody on my team will tell you that I'm extremely intentional about when I work and what I'm doing. When I'm with my family, I'm with my family. But when I started, I had to bust ass, and I did. But it paid off. It didn't take very long. And you think of it like if those of you that go to college, you busted your booty in college, or you busted your booty in school if you went to like a trade school or whatever you did. So you can do it. Those of you that have had kids and had that lack of sleep with those babies, you know what it takes. Do that with your business. Put that into your business. I know it's not easy, but trust me, it pays off. And if you have that big vision and you're working towards it, just know when you build that solid foundation, it pays you back. And that's what I did. And so on those days that I felt like, oh, I don't want to do this, I still did it. And it paid off. And that's what Jessie will tell you too. Same thing. So let me recap. Create your vision is first. know it, and then set some goals based on that. Give yourself 10 to 15 minutes, write it out. 2, what is it going to take? That's your critical thinking space. Don't limit yourself. Don't let any negative thoughts go in. Just look at it simply as like you have a destination, you're putting it into Google Maps, and what are the steps you have to take to get there? Look at it like that. Don't look at it as like, well, I might, what if people say no? Or what if, I can't do it? Or well, don't. No. You've got your destination. What's it going to take to get there? Just be factual about it. 3, implement and take action. Get in the car and drive. You got to drive. You got a destination. You got to get there. You got to go out, get in your car, turn it on, and start driving. And really, guys, that's all it is getting that vision, figuring out what it takes, and then implementing, and just go for it. Like, I've seen so many incredible things happen in my own life and in the life of, several of my coaches. And it is incredible. And so whatever that vision is for you, it's unique to you and your family. And that is why you're doing this business. So that's what I have. And just make sure you take action and that you're consistent. I'm really into like quotes and things like that. I'm sorry, you guys, if you're not, but that's my thing. I'm going to leave you with this before I open with questions. Vision without action is daydream. So remember those people that called me a dreamer? They would have been right. But action without vision is a nightmare. That's a Japanese proverb. So you must take action. And you will get backlash. You will get called dreamer. You will get called that. And people will think you're crazy. But then who cares? You're doing it for you. You're doing it for your family. Like when I look at my kids and my husband, I can honestly tell them like, this is for you guys. Yesterday I posted in my team page about how amazing it is to go back and look at like my coaches and my challengers transformation Tuesdays. Sometimes I just spend time in the newsfeed, and it reminds me also my other part of my vision is to help other people break free from the mundane, to break free from bondage, to break free from whatever situation is holding them back and whatever, has enslaved them. Because I feel like a lot of us, while we act like we're free and we have all of these things inside, we're in like a prison. We're like, oh, I'm slowly like losing myself, or I've got this going on, and and it's a really bad situation. I've talked to so many people that are like, I got my confidence back, and they were out there acting like they were confident, but inside they weren't. And I think that a person with confidence is unstoppable. And that's something that I want to help other people, especially other mothers, get back, because it's hard being a mom. Like, I love it, but I don't know if you guys saw Bad Moms. But I saw that last night. It's a little raunchy. So sorry if you guys are offended by that, but it is so hard being a mom. And I have a 12-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old. So I've been a mom for a while, and you have to be confident. Like, you have to be secure in who you are as a mother. Because there are a lot of things that will knock you down, and a lot of it is in your own head. So you want to work on that, and through this business you can work on that. And that's another big part of my vision. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions. If you have a question, please feel free to put it in the chat, or and I will answer it. Okay. Sierra asked, when you started out, what did you spend most of your time doing besides the vitals, or did you just send out a ton of messages and invites? Lucky for you, I write in journals, and so I have everything documented. So when I started out, I was like, all right, I set goals for myself. I was like, I need to make this amount of money to pay for my shakes, and then I need to make this amount of money to pay for my groceries. And so I figured out how much it would take and calculated it out. So then I figured out how many invites I needed to send. And I posted on social media. This is what I did when I started as a coach. I did my workout. I hated working out, by the way, back then. Hated it. I drank diet soda my whole first year of coaching and had at least 1 to 2 sugar binges a week. And when I say sugar binge, I'm telling you, these are not good sugar binges. I don't have that anymore, by the way. It's a journey, but that's a whole other phone call. So I was not perfect. I was 35 pounds heavier than I am now. And what I did is I made sure to do my workout, drink my shake, and then I did personal development that spoke to me. And when I say, I went in and I got the Audible app, and I would listen to old team calls. I would listen to old wake up calls from Beachbody. They're all on there, with whatever I was struggling with. So if I was struggling with inviting, I would go in and find the old wake up calls with inviting, or I'd go find videos of coaches that are doing well, whose names are always being read off on the national wake up call. I'd go find their videos, and I would do those. And I read The Compound Effect. That was a big one. First 2 times I couldn't read it. I was like, this thing is so boring. I can't get through the first chapter. Then I finally got through the first chapter, and now I love that book. So if you are started with it and stopped, please know it really does. Just go at least till the 3rd chapter, because that's where it gets good. So I did that. And then I would post on social media at between 8 and 9, noon, and then 8 and 9 at night, every single day. I would post on social media. I would do one thing a day about like fitness or nutrition. I did like a motivational thing, and because that's important to me. Like I said, guys, I'm into quotes. So if I was having an issue in the morning, I would go look up something about it on Google, because I would just go ask Google. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this today. Let's Google it. And then I would do something about my family. And that's what I would do. And then I would send out invites. I would build relationships with people. I would check in. That's really important, to make sure that you're building the relationships and actually inviting. Most of the time I would do my invites first thing in the morning, because they were so hard for me, because I was afraid of being rejected. In the beginning, I would get really stressed out and I would want to puke when I was on my invites. But I did it. So I'm just being honest with you guys. That's how it is. That's how it was for me. And then what I would do is, so I would do those first thing in the morning, and I used to do all my invites in blocks. So I would chunk them out in 1 to 2 blocks a week. I think it was Mondays and Wednesdays I would do my invites. I did a total of 35 a week. And then the other days I was following up with those people and responding to their messages. So that's what I did. I just kept it really simple. I don't, as you know, I'm not very good at doing graphics. Did you guys see the graphic I did for this call? I built a successful business, so you don't have to be a techie. And it's not about being perfect. It's just about putting one foot, sorry, my computer's dying, so I got to plug it in. One foot in front of the other. And that's what I did. So I just did those. I didn't get distracted by doing a bunch of other things. I plugged all my new challengers into my coaches challenge group. And then once I was comfortable with running a group, then I ran my own. And so then I would go in there. But I never spend, I chunk out all my time. I write out my list, and then I put, okay, I have this to do, and I give myself time limits, and I work by a timer. Because like if my kids didn't nap, so I had to get them quiet, and I would be like, I got like 10 minutes before they start screaming at me. So, and I can get them to like, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this in 10 minutes. And then obviously life is a little different now because they're finally a little bit older, but that's what I did. How long did it take? I got my groceries paid for my 2nd month of being in this business. I made $696 my 2nd month of the business. And when I first started, I was working 7 to 10 hours a week. But I was, again, you guys, I was doing the vitals, and I was intentional. So I did like the power of 7. Yeah, I just chunked it. I did 35 invites. I made a list, and then I don't know why 35 was stuck in my head. And I just did 35 a week, and I still do 35 a week. So that's what I do. I haven't changed much. Like really, I haven't. I have a big team now, so I spend, more time with my team, and I love them. But I really do, like for my personal business, I do the same thing I did 4.5 years ago. but now I just am very good about my time. Any other questions? All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much. I hope this was helpful. Make sure you go create your vision. Give yourself that time. It's such a gift, you guys. I know it's not easy, but trust me, it's worth it. You got to know what you're working for. And then share your vision, like I said, with your family, and do some vision planning with your spouse. Like, how cool is that to do it with your spouse and get them on board too. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Bye.